1 in every 691 babies born in the United States are born with Down syndrome. This is about 6,000 babies each year, according to the National Down Syndrome Society. Do you know anyone with this disability? So I have worked in classes that have students with Down syndrome, and it has given me perspective most people don't see by giving me first-hand experience with those with this disability. I have got to work with them one-on-one and in groups. I've really just got to know who they are and learn more about them as people. Many people have heard of Down syndrome and might even know someone with it, but don't really know what it is or what actually causes it. In this speech, I plan to give you more information about Down syndrome and explain how it can be inherited. I will talk about what Down syndrome is, the different types of Down syndrome, and how someone can get Down syndrome in the first place. Let me first tell you about what Down syndrome is, what it does, and how it affects those with it. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused when abnormal cell division results in extra genetic material from chromosome 21. Down syndrome causes very distinct facial features. Some of these can include a flattened face, almond-shaped eyes that face upwards most of the time, and a shorter neck than most people. Down syndrome is considered an intellectual disability. Those with it have significant limitations in reasoning, learning, and problem solving. It also causes many developmental delays, meaning that those with Down syndrome can take just a little bit longer when it comes to learning, and they might not be as socially active as others are. Now that I've talked about what Down syndrome actually is, let's move on to the different types of it. There are several different types of Down syndrome, including trisomy 21, mosaic, and translocation. 95% of those with Down syndrome have trisomy 21, in which each cell in the body has 3 separate copies of chromosome 21 instead of the usual 2 copies. So basically, they just have an extra one. The second type, mosaic, is about 2% of those with Down syndrome. It's a pretty even mixture of trisomy 21 and translocation as far as what it actually is. The last type is translocation. This one is about 3% of the total people with Down syndrome. It occurs when an extra part or a whole extra chromosome 21 is present, but is attached to a different chromosome rather than being a separate chromosome 21. I have just discussed the different types of Down syndrome, so now I will explain to you how someone can get Down syndrome to begin with. There are multiple ways someone can be born with Down syndrome or inherit it. Down syndrome is mainly caused because of a mistake in cell division in the early stages of development in the womb, not necessarily because it's inherited. Although, there is one type that can be passed from parent to child. This type is translocation. This probably happens to about 3 to 4% of people who have it, so even though it does happen, it's not very often that it does. If this does happen, the parent will probably have no symptoms or signs of Down syndrome, but could still pass an unbalanced translocation onto the children, causing Down syndrome in them. In conclusion, let's review what I have covered in my speech today. First, I explained to you what Down syndrome is. Next, I discussed the different types of Down syndrome. And lastly, I talked about how someone can get Down syndrome in the first place. Everyone that I have met that has Down syndrome are the absolute sweetest and kindest people. They are just full of joy and love and have quite the contagious smile. I would like to end this by saying, Down syndrome is very common in society today. I hope that you learn more about what it is from this speech and might even do some research on your own to further your knowledge of Down syndrome and how it can affect those with this disability. Thank you.